Hey, just curious, we're in the last week of spring practice here, obviously. Just how would you assess how things have gone so far, both individually and for the team? And then what's it going to mean Saturday to get in Beaver Stadium and have people actually there besides just family, friends, and all that kind of thing cheering you guys on?
Yeah, so I feel like collectively as the team, including myself, we've gone better each practice. We've made the corrections, and we've progressed. As far as the stadium, it's going to be real exciting. The last time we played in front of a crowd in Beaver Stadium was not last year, but the year before that. So that's definitely going to be real exciting. And obviously, myself and the team are real excited about that.
We'll go to Tyler Donahue with Lions 247 and Dave Eckert. You're on deck.
Good morning, Jonathan. Hope you're well.
Appreciate you. You as well.
Thank you. A lot of focus is on that competition at safety right now. You're involved there. Can you tell us what it's like on a daily basis right now, on the field, off the field, with guys competing to win that job?
Yeah, so obviously Coach Poindexter, he's been amazing so far. He's brought juice to every single practice, and he, comes out and he tries to bring the best out of us. So that's been real great. He's been a great factor. As far as the safety room, everyone's been looking real good. Everyone's been competing. We're a close knit group. We challenge each other every single day, and we carry that off, and we have great relationships with one another that carry on beyond the football field. So we all know that at the end of the day, we want to win football games, and we compete, and we try to get each other better every single day. So
let's go to Dave Eckert, BWI. Donnie Collins, you're on deck.
Hey, Jonathan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, thanks. When we chatted with Coach Poindexter earlier, he mentioned that he recruited you while he was at UConn. You guys have had a relationship for a while. So I guess with that in mind, what kind of impact has he had on your game personally in the short time that he's been here? Is there anything specific you've been able to take away? Thanks.
Yeah, obviously, him being a new coach, I just get a whole new side of coaching, and he's really helped me. It's like in pretty much every aspect, as far as giving life advice to the X's and O's, to academics. Like, he's just been an all-around guy who's really been supportive, and I'm thankful, and I'm really excited to continue working with him.
Let's go to Donnie Collins Stratton and T. Frank. You're on deck.
Hey, Jonathan, what does it mean to have Jaquan Brisker back? Has he looked like a different player this spring? And what kind of impact do you think he can make for you guys at safety in the fall?
It means a lot. It means a lot that he came back. He, like I said before, he's, as far as the team and himself individually, he's been getting better every single practice. I'm real excited to see what he has coming this fall. Real excited.
Thomas Frank Carr, BWI, and Tyler, you're on deck.
Hey, Jonathan, what has playing safety taught you about football on the defensive side? Do you feel like you have a wide picture of what defense football is like at your position?
Yeah, as far as playing the safety position, it's definitely taught me a lot. Definitely a lot about communication skills as well, because we got to see the whole picture. We got to be on the same page, as not like with pretty much everyone on the field, corners, linebackers, and the lines. So communication is real important, especially keeping your poise in intense situations and still being able to communicate effectively, I would say, for sure.
Let's go to Tyler Donahue and Audrey Snyder. You're on deck.
Jonathan, you know about being a team captain, what that takes. It sounds like we're getting a lot of descriptions of PJ Mustipher as fitting that mold this year. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but what is he doing to show that he has those captain qualities? Because everyone we talk to has something else to kind of throw in regarding his leadership.
Yeah, PJ is a guy who, first of all, he does everything right. He comes in and he works extremely hard, and he does more than what's required. And He's a guy that can get us juiced up. He brings that energy to practice every day. And, I feel real good about PJ, and he is a leader on this team. So.
Audrey Snyder with The Athletic, and Greg Pickle, you're on deck.
Hey, Jonathan, thanks for your time this morning.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm wondering, any side of the ball, what's the most impressive play you've seen somebody make this spring? What's maybe one that's memorable or stood out?
Yeah, so there's been obviously quite a few plays. A couple that come to mind. Parker Washington had an amazing one-handed catch the other day at practice. That was real impressive. Malik Mega, he took a glance route 70 yards to the house. But we've been working. There's been a lot of great plays, but those are the ones that kind of flashed me because they happened the most recently. So
let's go to Greg Pickle, and Donnie, you're on deck.
Okay, Jonathan, so that's a couple of big plays by the offense. What about you guys on your side of the ball? Any interesting interceptions or sacks or things that just made you go, wow, this is a guy who is really performing well for us?
Yeah, Tariq Castro-Fields had a real nice interception. I think it was about 2-3 practices ago. He's leading the turnovers right now on the defense, so he's been making great plays. Our D-line and linebackers have been looking amazing, just coming off that edge and, getting sacks and TFLs. And the safety's been looking real good too, getting their hands on the balls and creating PBUs and, making great tackles. So collectively, we're making splash plays. It's looking real good. And Tariq's the first guy who probably comes to mind with me. And it shows with him leading the turnover rate on our defense so far this spring.
Let's go to Donnie Collins and Tyler. You're on deck.
Jonathan, what's impressed you most this spring about Jair Brown, and how far has he come since last season?
Yeah, with Jair Brown, he's a guy who comes into work. He has a great attitude, and he competes, and he's made tremendous strides since last year, as far as him getting more comfortable with the playbook and the plays, but he's been looking real good.
Tyler Donahue, followed by T. Frank.
Jonathan, you mentioned Parker Washington making a big play there a few minutes ago. We had him on yesterday for a call about his development. What have you seen from that development? He showed up last summer, ended up starting game one, and now expectations have been raised for year two. Why has it worked for him from what you've seen, and what are you expecting in 2021?
I feel like it's worked for him because since he stepped foot on campus, he's been a hard worker. He's competed, and he's done everything right. He's paid attention to the details. And I'm expecting a big year from Parker Washington, and I know for a fact he's more than capable because I get to see him work every day in practice. So
let's go to T. Frank, followed by Audrey.
Hey, Jonathan, you mentioned communication and being able to be on the same page as everybody. How complex would you say the Penn State defense is, and are there things that people might not notice if they don't know what they're looking for with what you guys are doing?
Sorry about that. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, because most of our calls, so we play obviously a variety of coverages, and most of them are smart. So meaning we got to make the proper adjustments according to what formations we get. So there's always going to be checks. There's always going to be communication between the D-line, the linebackers, safeties, corners, and the whole nine. So communication is crucial for everyone being on the same page.
Let's go to Audrey Snyder, followed by John Sauber.
Jonathan, go back to takeaways here for a second. That's an area that, as a whole, you guys, the numbers haven't been there the last couple of years, and it's kind of always one of those weird things where takeaways seemingly come in bunches and whatnot. What's been different? Has anything been different about that this spring? I know it's been emphasized, but are you guys doing any different drills or anything like that?
Yeah, most definitely. So we have a period just for ball disruption every day in practice where each position will do drill work of getting their hands on the ball, creating turnovers or whatnot. And it kind of varies for each position, as you can imagine. So, and honestly, like I've been seeing the results in practice. We're getting our hands on a lot of balls, and it's looking good. So we just got to continue with that.
John Sauber, Sutter Daily Times. Dave Eckert, you're on deck.
Jonathan, to go back to the starting safety competition, where do you feel like you can improve most to sort of lay your claim to the other starting safety spot?
For me, just staying consistent, just coming in to work, coming into practice, ready to work, and just staying consistent. It's really that simple.
Dave Eckert, followed by Donnie Collins.
Yeah, Jonathan, I guess just following up on that, I mean, how do you stay consistent, especially this time of year? And what goes into that?
Yeah, so preparation, taking care of your body, making sure you're available, and, obviously staying in the playbook, making sure that you're ready to make all the appropriate checks. Obviously knowing not only my position, but the positions around me, and knowing what other guys are doing on the field. And, just working hard, just continuing to work.
Let's go to Donnie Collins, followed by Greg Pickle.
Jonathan, a little off the defensive subject, but since you've been so involved in special teams, who are some of the younger guys on coverage units who you think might be standing up this year? And is Robbie Dwyer among them?
Yeah, Robbie Dwyer's been doing a great job. He's been making plays on offense. On defense as well as special teams. So I definitely see him, having a great factor in special teams. Drew Hartlaub, obviously excited to see what he can do this upcoming season. And we got a bunch of athletes, so I'm really excited to see.
Greg Pickle, followed by T. Frank.
Jonathan, we've heard before good things about turnover work in practice. It hasn't always translated to the field. You're a veteran guy now, been here a long time. Obviously been with Coach Pride, Coach Smith a long time. Coach Poindexter's new, but what needs to change for that to translate to the field in terms of more production? And what do you think about Coach Poindexter and what he teaches that could lead to that? Thank you.
Yeah. So one thing about Coach Poindexter is that we will never do individual drills that would not show up in games. That's one thing he made very clear. As soon as he stepped here in this facility, he made it real clear. We will not do drill work, and we won't do drills that will not translate to the game. So we like to put ourselves in a lot of game-like situations, and it's going to pay off. So I'm excited about that.
Time for a few more. We got T. Frank, followed by Audrey.
Jonathan, when it comes to the learning side of it, and you've got all that down, where do instincts play into that? And is that an offshoot of learning the position, or is there something innate about the ability to break on a ball and stuff like that?
Yeah, so obviously, when you know what you're doing, you can play faster. So when a guy doesn't know what he's doing, he can't play as fast as he could. So once you know what your job is, you're reading your keys. You got to start each snap by reading your keys, and once you read your keys, at that point, that's when you just let your instincts take over. So obviously knowing your assignment is crucial. Reading your keys is imperative. And then after that, you just let your instincts fly.
Audrey, followed by Dave.
Jonathan, obviously you guys have always been really good with the 1-0 mentality and all that, but is there anything different because of last season? Is it a motivating factor for you guys moving forward, or has it totally been wiped away from your minds? Like, how do you guys balance that? Because it was such an unusual year.
It was an unusual year, but we're still sticking to that 1-0 mentality. That has not changed at all.
Dave Eckert, and then we'll finish up with Dave Melandra.
Yeah, Jonathan, I guess, I'm curious outside of, consistency and mindset and all that. Is there anything specifically that you're working on this spring, trying to get better, that you can point out?
So as a safety, you can always get better in your coverage. You can always become better in your tackling, and you can always become better in your communication. And I say communication, and that's diving into the playbook and going beyond and learning beyond what your responsibility is, as well as the backers, but also the D-line and the corners, and just see how that all fits together perfectly. So as far as coverage, tackling, and learning the playbook, I don't think that you can ever get to a point where you can't get better at those. So those things are things I'm focusing on.
Finish up with Dave Nylander of Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Hey, Jonathan, just a couple things I want to ask you. One, what did you take away from last season? And also, what are things you can build off from last year?
Yeah, so obviously one thing that I took away from last year is that I would definitely say that in the midst of adversity, and trials, it's so important to stay together, as a team. It can be real easy to start pointing fingers and blaming this person or that person, but in the face of adversity, I think it's real important that, you stick together with your family, you just continue to strive. And I think that's what we did towards the later end of the season. And what was the follow-up question, sir?
Go ahead, Dave.
What can you build off of last year going into this season?
Okay.
Oh, Jonathan, I muted you. Hold on. Sorry about that.
Y'all hear me?
Yep, we got you.
I would just say building off the foundation we laid, and just continuing to improve and never being satisfied, honestly. In all three phases, offense, defense, special teams, we can always find something to get better at, and we can't become complacent. So I think that just building on what we have and continue to get better is one thing for sure.